was a really sporty teenager. I would play many sports every week, and having severe joint pain, joint swelling, and then the fatigue just wiped all of that out for me. I probably, until my early 20s, really had a lot of issues with all those three things: the pain, the joint swelling, and the fatigue. And then it developed into back pain, and the back pain took over for quite a while during my 20s. I guess from that point of view, the symptoms really got a lot worse in my 30s because my mobility was affected. I wasn't able actually to do the things I wanted to do. So then you had another layer on top of the pain, the fatigue, the joint swelling, and the back pain. It was very difficult when I was a teenager and in my 20s because the pain and the fatigue were quite frequent. And so I had to kind of manage my life around them. And every now and then it would just get unbearable and I'd go back to a physiotherapist or a health professional to try and get some assistance. But the frustrating thing was they didn't believe me. They did not understand that I'd had this arthritis for so long. And because I had not had a diagnosis, they actually didn't really know how to treat me. So they would just give me whatever Band-Aid work they could do to get me through. And often I would be in so much pain because I'd go into spasms because my back was just all over the place. And the pain would be completely unbearable and I'd just be lying on the floor because I couldn't get up. And the frustration, I guess, is the most terrible thing. It just eats away at you all the time. At that time, when we were given the diagnosis, we were considering moving to United States from Australia to live and work there for probably 5 years. And at the same time, we were also considering what family we were going to have. So both of those concepts were just thrown out the window because we knew that I just had to get more treatment and I had to get into an exercise routine and that the possibility of children was far more remote. So it was pretty devastating at the time. I think if I had had a diagnosis correctly in my 20s, so following up from when I was a teenager, I would have been able to manage work a lot better because I would have understood that fatigue and exercise and the pain all go together. That's the whole package. So you have to manage it and deal with it. But also I think you would have been able to express yourself better to the rheumatologist, to the physiotherapist, to get better treatment and to get better follow-up. Because as you're going, things are changing. Situation's changing, your health's changing all the time. So you really need to change your treatment program and your exercise program to match that. And I think if that had happened in my 20s and 30s, I might have been in a much better position. And certainly not as physically disabled as I am today, that's for sure. I think if I'd had the diagnosis earlier and I'd had that follow through from the rheumatologist in the beginning, I would have had a better understanding of how the condition could be managed. And therefore my options would have changed by the time I got into my 20s and then into my 30s. So I might have had a different career. I might have travelled or lived overseas for quite a period of time. And I might have considered having children. Because there are ways to get around these issues, but you need to discuss them and you need to have a clear plan for your medical treatment with your health professionals. And so if it had happened earlier, I probably would have changed some of the things and choices in my life that I made as a 20-year-old and as a 30-year-old. if we can get this diagnosis earlier and we can get these young people treated earlier, they might have an opportunity in the workforce that they may not otherwise be able to do because their mobility and their pain and their fatigue, and then you've got all of the mental health aspect of depression, would get in the way, as it did with me partially. So if we can get the diagnosis earlier, the young people can stay in the workforce. They can have a normal family, they can have a normal career, but we've got to get that diagnosis early.